We're graders. You should put
Hello, good morning, 7th graders.
nice.
Morning, 7th graders.
Morning, 7th graders.
So we, as your 7th grade teachers, are here. We just want to say how, we are just so proud of you guys. You guys have really done an amazing job this entire year, and especially transitioning to remote learning. You guys knocked it out of the park. We are so proud of each and every one of you, and we can't wait for you to step up to 8th grade. You guys are going to make amazing 8th graders, and we're so excited. And just to wrap up this year, you'll be working on an end of year performance task, a really exciting project that all your teachers here have come together and designed specifically for you. So you'll be taking on the role rather of a human rights activist, and we'll be focusing on food inequalities in our communities. And we want you guys to really think about healthy food options and the socioeconomic status of your environment and the environment that all our kids are in. And then we just want you guys, as you watch this next series of videos, they will just show you how to engage in each content area and all the information you'll need to know, the instructions you will need. So just keep watching because all of that is going to come up, right? And don't worry about anything because all throughout the project, we will still be here for you. We will still have office hours as your digital advisors. We're going to see you guys during the morning. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. This is not supposed to be stressful. We do not want to overwhelm you. Just have fun. Just know that we love you guys. We miss you. We're thinking about you. And this is just one way that we're going to wrap up the year and end on an amazing note. We love you guys. Enjoy the project.
I just congratulate all of my 7th graders students because of the magnificent way for you guys to adjust to the new remote learning. Congratulations.
Hello, LGJ. This is Mr. Leahy. Before we start getting into the end of the year project, I'd like to say that I'm proud of all of you for adapting and persevering these last few months as the country goes through all the hardships that we've seen lately. So good on you. You've made it. It's the end of the year. We're at the final project. After this, you'll all be transitioning to 8th grade, and I look forward to seeing you grow as you continue on into adulthood. So, let's talk about the end of the year project a little bit. So, I'm going to go through this with you step by step. Feel free to go back through the video if you find yourself getting stuck, or reach out to me at any point during the window of completion. So for the end of the year project, all of your classes are posting their assignments in the Google Classroom suite titled End of Year Project. It's the same spot that you folks had your spring break assignments in, so just keep that in mind. That's where this is going to be. Mine is a draft right now, but when you see it, it'll be published and it'll be finalized. So what you're about to see is a general indication of how to go through my assignment. So first thing we'll do is we're going to click on the title, big blue letters, End of the Year Project, History. And when you come here, it's going to be broken down like we normally do in class. There's a materials section where you can access all of your additional resources and your primary resources, directions, and such. And then there's the assignment itself, giving directions, letting you know how the grades are going to be broken down. Let's start with the materials though. The first thing I'm going to want to do is read this component up here. It's going to tell me a little bit about the assignment. So students, for the history component of this project, you'll be examining the existence of food deserts in and around the greater New York City area, to include the Bronx. During this portion of the project, you'll develop a basic understanding of what a food desert is, how the issue disproportionately affects different regions, and put yourself in the role of a small business owner who is trying to make a positive impact on their target customers. We'll talk more about this once we actually get into the storyboard and the questions for this project. The next thing I'm going to do is read my directions, right? It's going to give me step by step exactly what I need to do and where I need to access these materials. So the first thing it says to do is open the history assignment. Okay, so I'm in material right now, so I'm not going to find my assignment here. I just scroll down, history assignment, and I go to the Google form. When I open that Google form, it'll take me to the history assignment. That's step 1. When I go back, I can take a look at step 2. Okay, so step 2 tells me to open the storyboard. There's a link right here that I can click. It's also right down here. This is going to be the primary resource that you folks use for my project. If you want to do a little bit of extra research, that's totally fine. But I specifically picked this because it's pretty accessible. So when we click that, it's going to take us to the storyboard titled Food Deserts in New York City. Where are they located and why? This is a storyboard, so it kind of reads like a book that you can go back and forth through, take a look at different locations, and there's different resources in here. There's text, there's some videos, and interactive maps. As you scroll through each component of the storyboard, it's going to tell you a different part of the story when it comes to food deserts in and around the greater New York City region. Your job, as you go through and do my assignment, is to interact with the different parts of the storyboard. So if I want to learn more about where food deserts are in New York City, I can go around and click on this map. As we progress through the storyboard, it's going to show us different parts of the story of food deserts in and around the greater New York City area. Read the text, use the maps, watch the videos, and it should put you in a good spot to answer these questions. So let's say I've gone through to the end of the storyboard. Once I've done that, it's going to tell me that I'm going to need to use evidence from the storyboard to answer questions in the assignment. And it also tells me that it's broken down to the different sections that have text, images, maps, and videos. Make sure you utilize all of these. As you go through, if there's anything you don't understand or have trouble reading or breaking down, make sure to use your accessibility software and your additional resources. Rewordify, paraphrasing tool, Google Translate, and so on. You got your transition words and phrases down here as always, as well as images for how to copy and paste and search within a document for keywords. Please, please, please utilize these tools if you need them. It will make you a better reader and writer, and it'll get you a better grade at the end of the day. All right, now that we've looked at the primary storyboard that you'll be working with, let's actually look a little bit more into the history assignment itself. So, there's 3 components to the assignment. The first are multiple choice questions. There's a total of 8. 8 multiple choice questions that are dispersed throughout the Google form. Once you've completed all of them, it's going to be worth 40 points. And just like all of my assignments, you can submit this as many times as you want. So if you get them wrong, go back and do them again. Don't rush. I see when you rush, and I will take points off. But if you take your time and you're honestly getting them wrong, no harm, no foul. Go back, take a second look, get a better grade. Too easy. There's also 2 short response questions that are worth 30 points. Those can be found in question 3 and question 7. One thing that's new to our short response questions is the rubric. I've included a rubric for this assignment, and it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do to get the point value you're looking for. So for example, question 3. It's going to tell me question 3 is out of 10 points. As always, it's going to tell me what I need to do in the question, but now, if you need some more clarification, this rubric will also break it down for you. So if I'm shooting for exemplary, these are the things that I would need to do. I would need to demonstrate superior use of vocabulary by using several transition words or phrases. I need to use 2 pieces of evidence or more. I need to explain that evidence in great detail, make connections between the different pieces of evidence. And I would have to respond in more than 5 sentences. This rubric is going to tell you exactly what I'm doing when I'm breaking down your grade. Please take a look at it. You follow the steps, you're looking good, you're going to get the grade you're looking for. Too easy. The last thing I want to discuss is the PowerPoint presentation that you will make for my project that's worth 30 points of the final grade. Once you've read through the storyboard, you've gone through all the questions, at the bottom of the page here, it's going to tell you a little bit about the Google presentation. So I'm setting up a scenario for you. Once you complete the storyboard, you'll get the feeling that things hopefully will change. I'm putting you in the shoes of somebody who maybe can help action that change. So congratulations, your years of hard work and determination have paid off. You've been granted a small business loan in the amount of $1 million to start your very own grocery store. You want to provide your customers with healthy food choices in order to help combat the food desert in the community. You will make Google slide presentation outlining how your business will cope with the challenges you learned about in the storyboard. You must use at least 5 pieces of evidence from the videos, text, and or interactive maps. Once you've made your slides, please make sure you upload them here and take a look at the rubric for a further breakdown of how this portion will be graded. When you're making your slides, all you got to do is add the file here, go to My Drive, and you'll be able to access the slides you made for the class. The rubric will break down exactly what I'm looking for the different categories: exemplary, mastery, standard, unsatisfactory, and no submission. This is the final project of the year. Please take your time, please take it seriously, and it'll help boost your grades. I hope you find the topic interesting. Myself and the rest of the 7th grade team took a lot of time trying to figure out what we were going to do for the end of the year project, and we figure this is worth your attention. As America's next generation, it's ultimately going to be up to you folks to figure these things out. Best of luck. If you have any questions, my office hours are still operating. I'm always a Jupiter message away, and I hope you all enjoy your summer. Thank you.
Good morning, LGJ, and welcome back. The end of the year is near. Congratulations on doing so much work this year. We're so very proud of you. So this video is to introduce the math portion of our end of the year project. So basically what we are doing is that we are advocating for food in places of colored and underserved populations. So you guys are the advocate, and this is what you need to do to assist the people in your communities. So the foundation of this project is based on our proportions and our ratios unit earlier this year that we worked on so well. So essentially what we are going to be doing, our task number 1 is learning about ratios and proportions. So our objective is to apply our ratio and proportions to feeding a large quantity of people, similar to something like the World Central Kitchen that you could find at www.wck.com. World Central Kitchen goes out and feeds populations in times of need. Um, we are going to take a recipe that you think is healthy and justifiably easy to make for large portions of people. So let's look at this. So, for example, I used a macaroni and cheese recipe. So, in this case, my recipe showed a recipe to make for 12 people. Your goal is to take a recipe that you find and scale it for 150 people. So in this instance, we are trying to find how we can scale a small recipe and make it into a large recipe to feed more people in neighborhoods. So if we look at this 12 people and we look at this 150 people, right? Our 12 people can be our x-axis, our x, and our 150 people is our y. We know to find the k, which is our constant of proportionality, that we need to divide our y by our k. So if we divide our y by our x, we get 12.5. So what Mr. Ramos did was take each measurement and multiplied it by 12.5 to find how many how much of this certain ingredient we would need to purchase to have to make for 150 people. So essentially, what you're going to be doing is finding a recipe and scaling it up to feed 150 people. And in this section right here, you will see an exemplar model, which I went through, and I took one recipe for 12 people, scaled it to 150 people. Then the second section that we need to focus on is our explanation. Uh, in our explanation, for example, I wrote, in order to scale my meal, I needed to find a recipe that was quick and easy to make for a large group of people. The following mac and cheese recipe stated that it was for 12 servings. I need to feed 150 people. So first I had to find out how many times I would need to make this recipe to feed 150 people. So if you read through this explanation, it shows us what the process was in finding the scale between original recipe and our recipe for 150 people. Notice here in my explanation, I do have the math portion showing my K, showing my proportion, and now I have some guided questions for you for your explanation. So you're going to use this explanation and you're going to use these guided questions to guide you through this project. Now, our second part of the task is really simple and straight to the point. It is showing us what we need to realize our purchasing power. And our purchasing power means that how much would it cost to purchase these items for 150 people? All I'm asking you to do is find 3 ingredients. You go to your local supermarket website and you find the cost. For instance, cheddar cheese. I found that 4 cups of cheddar cheese at $3.49 per cup, meaning that I needed $13 worth of cheese. So essentially what we will be doing is organizing a meal, researching this meal, and researching how much it would cost for some of the ingredients on it. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Hey guys, it's Miss R. I'm here to tell you or walk you through the science ends of the year projects. This is my handout for my records. It's going to look a little different when you actually access the handout on Google Classroom. But for science, there are 2 parts. The first part is pretty simple. It's learning about the food pyramid, which you probably might have seen before. And the purpose is to identify the different food groups of the food pyramid to eventually determine what a healthy diet should look like or is made of. And really, the assessment criteria for task one is to use the food pyramid to answer these questions. So, for example, above is a picture of the food pyramid. What do you think this food pyramid is showing you? So, you're going to look at it, answer the question. What are the different food groups being shown in this food pyramid? There are 6 in total. Okay, so the first one, I will just model it for you. You can see on the bottom bread, cereal, rice, and pasta group, right? And this is on the bottom of the food pyramid. It's recommended 6 to 11 servings. And you'll notice like patterns or differences, right? As you go up, what do you notice? Fats, oils, and sweets are at the top. So what does that mean? If this looks like this and this looks like this, right? This is wide, this is narrow. This is more, this is less, right? So yeah, for number 3, according to the food pyramid, what food group should be consumed occasionally? That means not as much. 4, which foods should we consume more of on a daily basis? And then for 5, you're going to do something really cool. You're going to keep a diary of the things that you eat, and preferably like from day to night. So for example, today for breakfast, I had eggs, turkey bacon on whole wheat toast, right? And then I would continue to write what I ate. So if lunch I have apple and peanut butter, I would record that in my diary. And if for dinner I had chicken and mashed potatoes, I'm gonna write that in my diary. And then you're gonna answer some short reflection questions that are mentioned here, right? Very easy, very simple for task 1. Boom. Now, task 2 is where you really have the autonomy or the freedom to create something of your own. Task 2, you're going to be creating a healthy food menu for your community. The objective, you're going to be creating a healthy food menu for your community by incorporating the 6 food groups that you've learned about. That's why in task 1, you learned about the food pyramid. Now you have to use that information to create a healthy food menu. It's not like Mr. Ramirez's class last year where he had you guys like create a restaurant of your choice and like you were able to create these food options of your choice, which is really cool. But now we're going to take it a step further and we're going to create a healthy food menu. In your menu, you should include breakfast option 2. So for example, let's say I pulled up a menu on Google. They have a title here and they named their pizzas double decker, chicken, ham, bacon, tomato. So they have a bunch of pizza options. But in your menu, you would write breakfast and then you would have 2 breakfast options. I mean, this is a lot of options. We're just going to really shorten it to keep it simple. You just need 2 breakfasts and then you can pick 2 lunch or 2 dinner. If you want to have all 3, that's fine too. But you only need 2 breakfasts and then you can pick 2 lunch or 2 dinner. So your menu is going to be very short. It's not, right? It's not going to be a lot. You can create a restaurant that specializes in the cuisine, of your choice. Options include, but are not limited to, Italian food, Spanish food, Indian, Chinese, African, Thai, American, whatever you want. Okay? You're going to create this menu. You can create it on Word. You can create it on PowerPoint. It's really your choice. I'm attaching a rubric. And here it is. So the first thing you need to do is creating a healthy menu by using the Food Pyramid's food group guidelines. So to get a 3 on this section, you need to create a menu that features healthy food options and ingredients according to what the Food Pyramid guidelines are. So a person who gets a 3 would be a student who creates a menu of food options that follow these guidelines. So if you have too many fats, oils, and sweets, then you're not following the guidelines of the food pyramid. So I should be seeing more veggies and fruits, right? Some meats, some carbs, right? Some bread, rice, pasta, and that could be whole wheat, right? To make it healthy. Another component of the rubric is your menu includes breakfast, lunch, or dinner options. So again, just this idea of following the rules that you need 2 breakfasts and 2 lunch or dinner, you pick. This is important. In your menu, you must show your ingredients used. So under each item on the menu, the student lists the ingredients used. So for example, if one of the things for lunch I want to have in my Italian restaurant is a chicken Caesar salad, in parentheses, I should write what my ingredients are. Grilled chicken, right? So that's a meat. Iceberg lettuce, that's a vegetable. Croutons, that's like the bread, the crunchy bread they put on top of your salad. Parmesan cheese, and then Caesar dressing, and I put light just to make it a little bit more healthier. Again, if you look at this menu that I pulled up online, they actually give you the ingredients. So they named the pizza, and then they have the actual ingredients: chicken, ham, bacon, tomato. And there's so many like different menus online. Last but not least, the presentation and cultural component. Your menu has a title, it has a nice font, it's easy to read, it contains color, and your choice of restaurant should align to the food items in your menu. So if you have an Indian restaurant, you shouldn't be having chicken parmesan because that's like Italian. So you also have to do some research if you're picking a specific cultural food. Any other questions, just feel free to email me and I will help.
Hey, seventh grade, it's Mr. Pifo. Nice to see you again. I'm going to be here walking you through the ELA component of this project. Before we get to that, I just want to say congratulations on completing a very long, strange, and difficult seventh grade year. It was a pleasure having you in my classroom way back when we were in the building, but it's also been a pleasure working with you through this online learning experience as well. So thank you for being so committed to your work, and thank you for having a great year. I had a great year. So we're working on applying for a grant to the World Central Kitchens. This is going to help you address the food insecurity that you're working to get rid of in your neighborhood, in your community. So a grant, if you read along with me here, is when a government agency agrees to give another organization money or important materials. It's not always a government organization. So World Central Kitchens, who we're applying the grant from, they're a nonprofit organization that helps communities that have food insecurity or natural disasters to get resources, to get food on the table where it's most needed. So you're going to be writing a grant proposal, which is basically saying, hey, I have this project that I'm working on, and I need your help with materials, with professional help that's going to help to make sure that I can do everything I need to serve my community to address this food insecurity. So, sorry, my cat's in the way. So in this proposal, and I'm going to walk you through this, there's 3 things you need to be able to do. We want you to do sensory details, much like we've been doing in our memoir and poetry unit recently. So sights, sounds, touch, taste, and smell to help the reader understand why this project is so important. Help really get in the head of whoever is going to be giving you this food and this money for this project. You really want them to feel what it's like to be food insecure. Explain what you're going to need specifically. I need this amount of food. I need this. Maybe I need this many people to help me with the project. This is your chance to kind of have a wish list for what you really think your project could use most. This can be based on the work you do in math, science, and social studies already. And then just some basic ELA stuff for number 3. Please make sure you're writing in clear, complete sentences. We've talked about this a lot. When there are sentence fragments or spelling mistakes, it comes off as unprofessional. And the result of that is that others might not be so inclined to want to help you because like, I don't know if this person really has their act together yet. So that's why we spend so much time making sure that we're writing in clear, complete sentences so that whoever it is reading our work knows that we're taking ourselves and our work seriously. So for this proposal, you're basically filling out 5 boxes, and then there's going to be a short conclusion paragraph at the end. First, we want to know the who. Who are the people who need your program? Describe where they come from. Use details to help the reader feel like they can see them in their mind. Again, this is where we're trying to create empathy in our readers to know exactly who it is that needs this service, what are the problems that they're facing, why do they deserve this service. And again, clear, complete sentences here. What foods do you need? What materials do you need? Who do you need helping you? Be as specific as possible. I need 20 loaves of bread. I need 5 pounds of rice. Whatever you've determined in your work with ratios in math and in science, write it in here. And again, we're looking for complete sentences. Where and when? Do you know where exactly you're going to set up your location? Do you know when you're going to be making these services available? This is where you're going to enter in that information. Why? Well, hopefully this isn't too much of an issue for anyone who's reading the work, but this is where you really need to create an emotional reaction. Why is this such an important project? Why are you so emotionally invested in this? Why is this such an important project? What are the consequences if you don't succeed? This food insecurity is a life or death issue, isn't it? So you need to make that really clear here. Again, this is where those sensory details can come in. Describe what it feels like for someone to be hungry. Describe what it feels like as a child to not have food on the table. Why you're trying to eradicate and get rid of these serious social issues. And finally, we want to know how this project will benefit people. How will you know they're being successful? What are you looking to see in your community once you've established all of these routines? So once you've completed these 5 boxes, the who, what, where, when, why, and how, you're going to put them all together in a conclusion paragraph. So in one paragraph, you'll just summarize, again, the who, what, where, when, why, and how of this proposal. And again, this is really your last chance to convince whoever it is that's giving you these materials, the food, the money, the labor. You need to get into their head. You need to create empathy among these people and help them understand why exactly they need to help you. So read the directions carefully. You only need to do maybe a couple sentences for each box. You don't need to overdo it. We are looking for one clear, complete paragraph at the end here. It's not here, but I am going to include a model proposal that's completed for a different grant proposal that's completed, so you'll know exactly more of what that can look like. But for right now, what I really want you to think about is those sensory details, creating empathy within the reader, and writing in clear and complete sentences so that whoever's reading your grant proposal knows that you're taking yourself and your work seriously. Okay, please reach out to me with any questions. We're all here to help you. I am going to be providing a model shortly. Bye, guys.
Hi, 7th grade class of 2025. This is Ms. Moyer with your end of the year assignment. And I am going to go over it with you. So if anybody has any questions, you can refer back to this video to find out whatever you need. So I'm gonna share my screen with you, and it's gonna make me little. Share. Okay, so share. All right, so as you know, our end of the year project is about food. And you will receive this page on foods from around the world. That's going to be your project. So this is Ms. Moyer's Visual Arts 7th grade end of the year project. foods around the world. So the purpose of our project is to become knowledgeable about the cuisine of a specific foreign country, and that can be any foreign country you want, or it can actually be from here, if that's what you wish. Also to educate the class about the history of the types of foods and eating habits that's identified with that country. So you're gonna actually pick a country, what could be where you're from. If you're from here, you can do it about the United States, certain parts of the United States, or from the South. You will be graded on 4 parts. And if you look at the paper, it says your project will be, it should say divided into 4 parts. So your major grade is going to be a poster or a menu or recipe book. The more you do, the more credit you'll get. Your other major grade will be on the presentation, which you'll do like just a little PowerPoint or Google Slides format of some of the foods that you are going to speak about, and I'm going to show you that later. You could either do a Google Slides format, or for extra credit, you can film yourself cooking an actual meal. So the next part is a weekly check and grade on your work ethic. This is just to make sure that you are doing your project and you're not having problems with it. As we know, it's going to start next week, coming up on Monday. And then your final presentation or your sample food during your presentation. So if you're actually going to make a dish, then just like photographing the dish or talking about it as we look at the PowerPoint will be good. So you can work individually or with someone at home for your project, and it's going to break down like this. You're going to do a poster, and the history report poster breaks down as 3 points for the map of the country that explains where the place is located, a picture of the flag of the country, 2 points, 5 points is the capital or population and size of the country. If you're doing the United States, it would be the state that you're focusing on. 25 points would be any special celebrations, holidays, festivals, feast and food involved, and special eating habits. 15 points will be the typical foods of the country, explaining that. 5 points will be pictures, and another 5 points for your grammar and spelling. So your recipe book would have and should contain a creative cover, 3 appetizers, which are smaller meals that you would have in the beginning, a recipe for 2 meat dishes, recipes for 2 vegetable dishes, recipes for 2 starch dishes, which would be like a rice or a potato or a yuca, and recipe for 3 desserts. Now, if you find this is overwhelming and you can't find the exact number for all these dishes, as long as you have 1 of each, that would suffice. But to get your full 100, you would have to have each one of these. So 3 appetizers, 2 meat dishes, 2 vegetable dishes, 2 starch dishes, and 3 desserts. And you just have to write the recipes down. So your presentation, you must present your country to the class. So you would do it in a slideshow, like I said earlier, or a menu, 5 to 10 minutes, but that's a very long time. So don't worry if it's not 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't really have to be. And include everything on your poster as well. So you would show your poster during your presentation. If you add music to it, that's another 10 points. Music from the country that will play during the cooking of your country. Your research participation on the days given, which is the weeks in June that you have to do this. You must actively participate working on your project. So we'll check in with you to see and make sure that you're on task for what you have to do. And you'll get extra credit, 15 points for every additional sample of food. So say if you did 2 meats, you really only have to take a picture of 1, but if you do more, you'll get extra credit. Also, you can choose any recipe that you would like that originated in your country. And if you have the opportunity to make this dish, you can get extra credit for filming it. That's what I'm saying. You really don't have to film yourself cooking, but almost like a cooking show, you can get extra credit for it. So try to use anything that is already in the kitchen as far as ingredients, or anything that is not in the kitchen. You'll have to ask your parents if they will allow you to purchase them. So it could be like even whatever you guys are going to eat for dinner. It doesn't have to be anything that you have to go out and specifically buy. So that would be the first part. So I just want to now show you the okay. So now I'm going to share my screen again, and this time I'm going to open the PowerPoint, which is where I think I went wrong before, and play from start. So you could actually do one like this. Menu design will be in the front. So start at the beginning. So what kind of food is it if you are opening a restaurant, or what the dishes are, that you would serve. So first things first, what's on the menu? So once you've decided what the concept of the restaurant is or the dishes that you're going to do, you'll use the guideline to design an exciting and contemporary menu. Right, so you're going to do a menu of all your foods. So each dish should feature something seasonal, like so what you would eat in the wintertime, something comforting, or what you would eat in the summertime, something light. What local products would you use, or farm-grown products? Which ones are preferred? Out of season ingredients are used sparingly and thoughtfully. So like right now, we're in a pandemic, so what could you make that you could serve to a lot of people in the family that wouldn't be that expensive, like a rice dish. So just thinking about who's eating, how many people you have to feed, and what would be cost effective. And here are some examples of foods that you would eat, like winter, spring, summer, fall. Finally, the principles of your menu design, you would consider contrast and variety, just like we have that in our principles of art. You have it in food. So would it be, special temperature it has to be served at, texture, aroma, flavor, size, shape, all these words you would use, to make it more interesting. So you'll have creamy versus crispy, or dry versus sauce. So you could use all these descriptions when you're writing the recipe for your foods or talking about your main dish. So this would be like a format for the menu. If you want to keep it simple, which is you should, simple and clean, avoid including too many pages. Because it would just make everybody crazy. And you could pretend you are a diner. Can you easily open and read this menu? If you were sitting with other people, here's some examples of what you wouldn't do. For instance, this menu is too big. This one, you can't really see how much everything costs because the food is distracting your view. This has so much stuff. This is another menu with so many choices. That's too much. So you just have to do something simple. To me, these two are simple. So when you do your poster for your menu, it should be colorful. If you want to put out like a fresh food dish, you would use green colors. Orange stimulates appetite, yellow grabs somebody's attention, red is persuasive and demands action. So you would put the pictures of the dishes on your menu next to them. Out of these three, I really like this one because it kind of gives you pictures, tells you what it is with a description, and gives you prices. If you can't do all that, simply take a picture of whatever you cook, and then you can write on the side on a slide what it is, the recipe, what it calls for, how you cooked it, and everything it contains. So some other words to include in your descriptions is side dishes, condiments. That's like mayonnaise, which you make it with ketchup, mustard, different sauces, special ways you prepare. So all of these are just ideas and vocabulary you could use and put in together your menu and your slideshow. And that is actually the last slide. So I'll stop sharing. I know that was a lot of information, but basically you just have to make a menu with the food. If you can't make 3 vegetables, or you could just make 1 vegetable and then just give me the recipe for 2, that's fine too. You'll make it to whatever's comfortable for you, as long as it is a menu showing us pictures of the dishes that you are going to make. And if you have any questions, you can email me. Next week we'll have office hours. I think mine are 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So I will send you information with the PowerPoint. And anything else you would need from me, you could always email me. Okay? So that's it. That's our end of the year project. You'll be graded. That'll be your final. That'll count as your final grade. Meaning if you were to take a final, averaged in with everything else. So hope everyone's well and keeping safe. If you have any questions, just email me and we'll speak soon. All right. Bye.
Hi, 7th graders. Congratulations on making it to the end of the year. I'm so proud of the work that you've already completed. You really outdid yourself. I'm excited to announce our theater end of the year project. So, you are going to create a public service announcement raising awareness about food deserts and food insecurity and what can be done to ensure that everyone has access to healthy food regardless of zip code and income. You will first review a series of sample PSAs. Now you're probably asking yourself, what is a PSA? I assure you that you've all seen them. PSAs are public service announcements, which are short videos used to raise awareness about a social issue. Specific social issue you'll be focusing on is food deserts. So I've compiled a series of PSAs that address the same issue you're going to be addressing. Now in this box, you're going to click on the link, watch the video, and answer the guiding questions. What problem is the PSA addressing? What facts does the PSA include to show the problem? Does the PSA provide a solution for how to fix the problem? If so, explain. And how does the PSA get the audience to care about the issue? Hopefully, these PSAs will inspire you, because the next part is to create your own PSA. There are also additional questions, just comparing and contrasting the different PSAs that you've seen. Now, our second task. Students will be able to create original PSAs that can educate the viewer about food deserts and inspire people to take action to initiate change. So you're going to create your own 30 to 60-second PSA addressing food deserts and food insecurity using your research from Mr. Leahy's class and or additional research that you find on your own. Now, I found a great tool that can help us create our PSAs. It's called Adobe Spark, and you're going to log in using your LGJ email address. Now, it's highly recommended that you use Adobe Spark instead of Google Slides. But if you find Spark too confusing, you can use Google Slides. But I think Spark is pretty easy. So I'm going to click the link for Spark. And you're going to log in with your school account. I already made an account, so I'm going to click Continue with Google. Whoops. Now you're going to click Create a Project, and you're going to click Video. We can skip this part, and you're going to click Promote an Idea. Start from scratch. You can watch the little promo video. They give you tips on how to get started, so you should watch this. I watched it, so I'll click OK, I'm ready. And here's the screen that I'm given. So I click here to add a video, text, a photo, and here I can click to record myself. So I've already started making one, which I will show you. It takes a bit of time to load. So the music is actually already here. I'm not sure if you'll hear the music in the sample. So that's the first slide. Now I can control how long I want the slide to be. So right now it's 4 seconds, but I can make it 17 seconds. So that's your choice. You can decide how long you want it. This is my title page, so I can also edit the text. I can make it full screen. I can make it split screen. I can add text. So I'm calling mine Fighting Food Deserts. Whoops. Great. Then I click the next. I added this image. So if we want images, we click on photo and I can upload a photo or I can find free photos. So I'll play for you what I have so far from the beginning. That's what I have so far. So now I'm going to go back, and on the bottom I have my slides. So for this slide, I'd like to add a voiceover. So I'm going to click the record button, and I'm going to say, unfortunately, unhealthy foods are often cheaper. Unfortunately, unhealthy foods are often cheaper. I could play it back. Unfortunately, unhealthy foods are often cheaper. Great, so now it has my voice. So now I could start from the beginning. Unfortunately, unhealthy foods are often cheaper. And I click out of it. And on this slide, I want to add a photo, and I want to upload the photo. Something that I downloaded. So I go into my downloads. And I'm going to put back the picture of the United States. And I want to add text. And I want it to be red. And I'm going to say eliminating food deserts could improve diet. And I want this to be 8 seconds. All right, so I keep editing it, and then when I'm all done, I go to download. It's preparing my video to download. And now I have my video, and I can open it and upload it to Google Classroom. Now I also wanted to show you that you can delete by clicking the 3 buttons and just clicking delete. Yes, delete this slide. I can also add slides by clicking the plus sign. I can change the music. I can add my own music. This button means record. So we have layout and music are probably the 2 most important. Now, back to the project itself. So you're going to be using your research from Mr. Leahy's class. I already mentioned that before. Now for your designing your PSA, you're gonna need to make sure that you're addressing the following. Does my PSA clearly state or show the problem? Does it offer a solution as to what can be done to solve the problem? Does it give persuasive facts and statistics? Are you convincing your viewer of your argument? Does it include emotion evoking images and or videos? Does it include a voiceover? So I highly suggest that maybe you read one of your statistics or narrate your presentation. And does it last at least 30 to 60 seconds? So I've created a optional planner for you to fill out what you want to put into your PSA. So a title slide, statistic, quote, fact with image that'll grab the viewer's attention, address the problem, a statistic that supports the problem, an additional one, a solution, and a call to action. What can people do? This is your rubric. This is how you're going to be graded. As I mentioned before, I highly recommend using Adobe Spark. It's very user-friendly, and most of the work is already done for you. You essentially just have to plug in your research. If you choose to use Google Slides, it's a little bit more difficult because there's more things to play around with. I'm really excited for you all to get to use your creativity in designing this PSA. This might be the beginning of your filmmaking careers. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and I look forward to receiving your work.